The willingness to listen, the patience to understand, the strength to support, the heart to care, and just to be there. That is the beauty of a lady. A very happy Women's Day to one and all present here. So, I would like to welcome everyone for today's event that is based on gender sensitization and its relevance in Indian cinema. Indian cinema has always been a great influence on our society, be it fashion trends, family gatherings, or even general perceptions. But where there are pros, there are even bigger cons. Our film industry is a reflection of a society. For our audience, it is a mirror on how we treat different genders in real life. Bollywood is still undergoing a wave of change in terms of storytelling and writing. However, our entertainment industry still has a long way to go when it comes to portraying women as well as men for what they are. We all grew up watching Bollywood movies and they developed our thinking and expectations about our daily lives as well as how we deal our relationships with people. It tells young boy what he is expected to be and it also tells young girls what they should expect. It also tells key people what is normal and what is not. It is somewhere responsible for internalized homophobia among men. So masculinity is often discussed in society and it has also evolved over time in Bollywood. The angry young man era was the era that laid the foundation of what a man should be, strong and protective. But how do we know that the man could also be emotional and sensitive? So, from macho heroes who are angry and fighting off with a group of villains to saving their girlfriends or their better halves to understanding and supportive partners, roles of men has been changing in the cinema, but also for good. However, still there is a long way to go, and not everything is free from sexism. Many movies even now promote misogyny and broody behavior of men. It is a long way to go, and we need to keep revisiting the old and new times of masculinities portrayed in Bollywood. So, today we have our chief guest, Ms. Nikanka Dadwal, with us, who is a founder of SLAP organization that works for women's safety and breaking gender stereotypes. A big round of applause for her. So, first of all, I would like to invite our faculty advisor, Ms. Avlokita Agarwal, to address the gathering. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Krati, and thank you to all the students who are here. We understand that the topic that we have taken is something that Indian society still doesn't discuss openly. And that is precisely the reason why we decided that we need to talk about it. We talk about it in a hush hush tone, we talk about gender stereotypes, but I believe that in a society, in a community like IITs, where all the people present largely are intellectuals and are capable of handling discussions about such issues. And that is where our intent of conducting this workshop is, which is going to be an interactive one. Now, since we are conducting this workshop on the eve of International Women's Day, it might be perceived that we are talking about women empowerment and equality here. Well, we are really not talking about women empowerment here. We are not talking about feminism as, a cliche term or how we've conventionally understood it to be. We are actually talking about breaking gender stereotypes. And before I request Mriganka to come on stage and start with her workshop, I'll recite very short two poems from two different perspectives. One from the perspective of a girl or how a girl is still seen. And the other one is from a boy and it is written and narrated by a boy himself. So first I'll go with the one which is from a girl. It is titled Hamari Kokh Jai. पढ़ी लिखी तो क्या हुआ, हो तो तुम लड़की। जॉब कर ली तो क्या हुआ, हो तो तुम लड़की। रात का अंधेरा है तुम्हारे लिए खतरनाक, तुमसे ही ऊंची नीची होती खानदान की नाक। मत भूलो न समाज बदला है और न ही हम लोग, बेटियां आज भी हैं बाप के कंधों का बोझ। आज भी रात को बाहर निकलने से पहले पड़ता हमें है सोचना, बाप के चेहरे पर उड़ती है हवाई और माँ का 100 बार पूछना। बेटा जवान तो बाप का सहारा, बेटी जवान तो बाप बेचारा। लड़की ज्यादा पढ़ लिख ली तो अच्छा रिश्ता कहाँ से आएगा, लड़का जितना पढ़े दहेज से उतना घर भर जाएगा। कभी कहीं कोई लड़की छिड़ी तो दोषी लड़की ही होगी, जरूर कपड़े तंग होंगे या रात में निकली होगी। उसके कपड़े नहीं, तुम्हारी मानसिकता तंग है। अपने अधिकारों की खातिर लड़नी हमें हमें अब जंग है। आशाओं की किरण दिखी है, सवेरा होना बाकी है। नई सुबह की एक किरण अंधेरा चीरने को काफी है। बहुत हुआ सम्मान, अब होगी आर पार की लड़ाई। बराबरी का हक, बराबरी का हक तुम हमें भीख में क्या दोगे, पूरी कायनात है हमारी कोख जाई। This is one perspective, and thank you, and the other one is how to be a man. मर्द को दर्द नहीं होता. We've been brought up in households which made us preach such false teachings. They told me I will soon be the man of the house while I was just 6 years old. It's not their fault, you see. This is what they've been taught since centuries, that men don't feel and men don't cry. Man up, they told me. Man up, young boy. As a kid, I once cried in public, and people laughed as if they actually loved it. And then that kid wiped his eyes. His amazing smile was full of lies. He'd make a decent writer, but an engineer sounds more wise. When can we finally talk about mental violence so that I can finally break the silence? So that I can unlock my door and let you in. Don't ask me why it was shut so long and why it is so dark in there. So, this is about men in your life. And contrary to popular belief, this is still feminism. This is for every father, every brother, and every son who wet his pillow so many times and he's woken up just fine. He's broken down and yet he's smiled. He's owned his mustache, but he's still a child. He wishes he could talk to you about this, but he wouldn't know where to begin. He's a product of a failed social system where expressing himself was considered a sin. And he's buried them all inside. And look, he's alive, and yet he carried his kin. Look at his tears drip from his silence. You need to break his silence and talk to him. So go, talk to your dad. Ask him what his dreams were, what he really wanted to pursue. Talk to your elder brother. Ask him what he's going through, how he landed up in this job he never wanted to. Tell him you miss him and that he could spend more time at home and that he doesn't need to hide his notebook anymore. Talk to your son, who might be really young, but tell him he needs to speak and that crying in public won't mean he's weak. But he can't cry himself to sleep every night because the world is running out of dry pillows. Talk to them. They might not speak, but it'll be comforting for them to know that someone's there to listen. Someone will help them take care, and most importantly, talk to yourself, look into the mirror, and smile. This is the second perspective which I wanted to bring up. These are the poems which I found most relevant. Now we see here, it's not at all about gender equality. It's about how we have stereotyped genders. So this is what the prime agenda for today's workshop and discussion is. And Mriganka has been working in this field for more than a decade now, and she's been conducting workshops on gender stereotypes, on women empowerment, on child sexual abuse, on sexual harassment, and a lot of similar topics. But today, I will just invite Mriganka to take on this discussion about gender stereotypes, and I encourage all of you to be really interactive and participate in this discussion because it is not a monologue, it is going to be a dialogue and an interaction. So I welcome all of you and especially Mriganka.
Okay, so first of all, ma'am, our Culsoc members would like to give a vote of appreciation.
And we have two mics. We have one for you and we have two for the audience.
Audience and the students. And then this is streaming live, so I'm supposed to hold another mic.
I apologize in advance if I drop it. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can everybody see me? Wow, overwhelming for a workshop on sexism and cinema. I was told, there are three C's which sell in India. And can anybody hazard a guess what those three C's are? It is said three C's are guaranteed to sell in India, like pull crowd. And if you guess it right, I even have a small reward for you guys because it is International Women's Day and women are all loving and giving. Cinema is, that's a good one. For that beautiful answer, I'll give you this chocolate, but you'll have to, either somebody has to volunteer to reach it to him or you have to come. Three C's which sell in India are actually cricket, crime, and cinema. So, am I right? तो क्रिकेट सेल करता है लेकिन क्रिकेट तो बड़ा ही जेंडरबाइज्ड गेम है वी कैन टॉक अबाउट इट क्राइम will be a part of what we're going to talk about, but essentially cinema sells and we all love it. It's fun, it's light-hearted, and somewhere when we talk about sexism, cinema, and hum tum, so I was expecting larger audience because cinema is the crowd puller, but sexism, oh my god, such a taboo word, and we're going to talk about it on Women's Day. पता नहीं क्या बात करने वाली हैं ये लड़कियां, we better, actually somebody was saying I better go out, and I was like, wait. This workshop, like you very rightly said, Ablokita, and two beautiful poems you gave us, it's not about much abused term, women empowerment. Women don't need empowerment, very empowered. We just need to look at it from a different lens. That said, we never talk about empowerment of men. Matlab, how about talking about, that topic has not even started. So we are here to talk as much about empowerment of one gender as other, because somewhere stereotyping cripples and restricts all of us. Would you all agree or not so much agree? Agreed? Maybe louder? Show of hands? Okay, great. I think we are in unison, or we haven't made up our minds yet. I hope by the end of this workshop, we're able to kind of, form an opinion. So let me tell you one thing, what this workshop is not going to be. I don't have any ready-made solutions for you guys. I'm not here with an agenda to, tell you ye hona chahiye, ye nahi hona chahiye. We don't know. This is going to be a brainstorming session. I'm here to raise some questions. And the more interactive, the more participative you guys are. Actually, you guys can come this side. We have plenty of, seats which are lying vacant anyway. Acha, okay. So up to you guys, but these seats are vacant. So, all right. So since it is going to be an interactive session, since it's going to be, a dialogue between genders, a topic which is generally supposed to evoke strong emotions, I think it is only fair that we set some ground rules first. All right. So can we have my presentation up now? I'm going to ask you guys a series of questions, and with the show of hands, you can just, tell if you agree or disagree, and that will be our safe space, which we are going to create to have this dialogue. Can we have the second slide, please? The slides are visible to all, na? Ha. Acha, so can we have the first pointer? How many of us here whether here in this workshop or otherwise in life, we wish to be heard respectfully. Raise your hands, please. I hope nobody's, yes. So we all agree, huh? Irrespective of our genders, we want to be heard when we are saying something respectfully. Next. So we all hold some opinions. How many of us want not to be judged for holding those opinions? Raise hands. Oh, me too. Yeah. Me too is a very loaded word, by the way, but. So next. How many of us have at least, wondered, if not allowed, that if you disagree with me, at least consider my opinion before rejecting it outright? Yeah, we all agree. And lastly, this is a difficult one, but how many of us would be happy to take a feedback if it was given to us with kindness? So universally, 4 values we have established here. In this workshop, we'll all, men and women, will speak, but we'll be respectful of the differences. And if we have to give each other feedback, we'll do it with kindness. Can we all agree on that? So this is a safe space, and especially, to men folk here, I want to say reassured, because feminism, again, a word which is much used, misunderstood by people who espouse it, and also misunderstood by people who oppose it. Because again, a very loaded word. Pata nahi kya hone wala hai. Also, one of the reason a lot of people would not show up for workshops like these is because they're scared. It's not that they don't agree, it's just they're too scared कि पता नहीं क्या होने वाला है. So let's, once we've created the safe space, also let's be on the same page when it comes to the word feminism. Can we have the next slide, please? For a second, I want all of you to close your eyes. And you don't have to answer me or anyone, just imagine a feminist. Close your eyes. Imagine whatever comes to your mind. What does a feminist look like? How do they behave? Think about it. Next slide, please. Open your eyes. How many of you imagined that? You did? Anybody else wants to? Yeah, it's okay. You can show your hands. I mean, you don't have to tell me, but see, this is the point. The moment we think of feminist, we think of a strong, opinionated woman. There's nothing wrong with being one, but they also believe that she wants to bash all men and anybody who differs in opinion, at gunpoint. Right? Wrong. Absolutely wrong. So let's first define what the term feminism means, because this is doing more damage. This is like having a self goal. So what exactly do we mean by feminism? For that, I need 2 volunteers, and we'll do a nice small social experiment to kind of demonstrate what it means. A girl and a boy, and 2 chocolates for whoever volunteers first. Come on. Please come. You don't have to. Wait. Come. It's always difficult to be the first. So people who come first deserve a round of applause. Come on the podium. Will our mics clash? Okay, you can leave the mic there because this is an experiment. You don't have to say anything. So come. I want both of you to stand, okay, parallel to each other here. And sir, can you go that side? Huh? Thank you so much. Now, this is an experiment that we're going to do to see if men and women exist in the same space. All right. So volunteers, आप लोग बराबर आ जाए. हाँ. Right. Now, I want you to step forward for every statement that you are indifferent to. If you are indifferent to that statement, step forward. If you have experienced it, then step backward. Can we do that? Okay. Can we have the next slide, please? Next. So this is the question. Do men and women live in the same world, although we are occupying the same space? Next slide. Okay, first. Okay. I'm reading it out for you guys, huh? Maybe I should dress conventionally as I need to take public transport. No? Step ahead. Step a bit. हाँ, मतलब बहुत आगे मत जाइएगा, you may fall. But And we don't want that. Acha, next. Is it safe to travel alone in that new city? Oh, wow. Interesting. Next. Gosh, I hated that stare. Like I was being sized up. Okay. Really? Many times. How many men here agree? Okay, no, it is not. I agree with you. How many men here would but agree with him that we also feel that case? Okay, we have some people agreeing. And last one. If I sound too aggressive, they may not consider me for this post. You've also felt it, ma'am. You? Yeah. So 4 steps back, 2 steps back, 3 steps back. Interesting, very interesting. Because ideally, I was expecting that you will just go keep on moving forward. But still, it's an interesting insight for us, right? How many of you also felt that yes, as a man, also I need to sound a little toned down version of myself? Wow, that's insightful. Now, still, do we still, as man and woman, we have faced some similar experiences, some different experiences. Let's talk a little bit more, to go deeper into this issue. Now, as people, I think today, now, is the best time to exist, but at least, these days we can talk about these things thanks to social media, thanks to all the feminism, activism, and movements, we can talk about these issues. तो आप फ्री हैं लेकिन 7 बजे के बाद after 7 p.m. if you have to step out, watch what you're wearing. Yes, no, step ahead, back. 7 o'clock के बाद अपना सेफ्टी देख लेना. हाँ, ओके. आप फ्री हैं लेकिन पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट जा रहे हैं तो see if you can take the woman bogie, otherwise if you get groped, it's not on me. आप फ्री हैं but a list of buts. Women, why men and women? So, like, we've faced similar problems, but with women, freedom comes with condition supply. Aap free to hai, but. What happens? Do you feel constricted?
Yes, often. Even though we are being termed as of the newfound the women of the new world, still we are limited to various extents. Like even though I study in this college and everything, but when I go back to home, then my father is like, okay, don't go after 8 p.m. and everything. Look where you're going. Send me your details and everything. So these are the questions which are not asked to my brother. So I can see the difference right there.
Wow. I would also come to you. We're not going to discriminate, huh?
Yeah.
Have you experienced something like this?
Yes, not to that extent, but I still do feel that still my parents are quite like, what should I say, a little bit more reserved when it comes to when I go out after 8 or 9 like that. So it is not.
Do they tell you that after 8
Be
p.m. you
safe.
can't wear?
Yes, yes,
Be safe.
be
Okay.
safe, yeah, right. But it is not as constrictive as women feel in a family, right?
Thank you so much for your honesty, though. What's your name, sir?
Rajvi, ma'am.
Thank you, Rajbir. You have volunteered and you deserve a reward.
Thank you so much.
And what's your name, ma'am? Ruchi. You have also volunteered. You also deserve a chocolate. Thank you so much. Will do. Wait. Come back. क्या है ना फिल्मों में एक्शन रिप्ले का बटन होता है. Let's do it again. Okay. I love the fact that 2 hands have been raised. Yes, please. Someone has to take a mic there. He wants to say something in Ablo. Let's begin with. You can sense the vibe. I can sense. I'm so glad at least one hand shot up. Yes, sir. Thank you. I would have been so disappointed if in IIT nobody raised this question. What did I do? Okay, fantastic. 3 cheers for you. 3 cheers for him. You wanted to add something to it? What? It's important to raise this question. I want you to put it in as many words. What did I do? But only 2 people raised their voice And neither of them were one of those two people. Wait, one sec. Slow down, huh? I'm coming to you. When I gave you two chocolates and I gave her just one, why didn't you say anything?
I think it was very seamless and I didn't like think for that moment.
Perfect. It didn't occur to him. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what privilege looks like. It's not his fault, but that is what privilege looks like. We are so used to privilege that it just doesn't occur to us that somebody else is not getting their due share.
Yeah.
Thank you for your honesty. Return the chocolate. How about you, Ruchi? You were studying in IIT, such a bright young girl. You spoke so nicely, and when I gave you one chocolate, not even once you contradicted me.
Actually, I saw it later, but I thought maybe he's getting it for being a man and then stepping up. So he's getting this extra reward. He should have ladka उठ के आ गया, ठीक है. So
Tui.
because on some level we are habituated to it. You know, when we see a man in this feminist kind of aura, so we think, okay, it's so kind of him to come here. So
So you were feeling so much gratitude toward him for
not
taking.
the gratitude, but I thought, okay, maybe it's working like this only. So
But it didn't occur to you that you did as much hard work. I mean, you walked as many steps. You answered as many questions. You deserve the same reward. Didn't it occur to you?
yes, it did, but on some level, I'm so much habituated to this gender difference now. So it's like I'm just adjusted to to that level. Okay, maybe it's getting more.
Okay, that is what oppression looks like. Third, I'm coming to you guys. So, apart from two people who raised their hands, the rest of you saw what I did. Why did not anyone stop me? Okay, it wasn't visible. Makes sense. Anybody else, people in the front rows, you could see what I was doing? No, it's okay. Again, I told you in the beginning, I told you there is no judgment. It didn't occur to you either. It, we are so used to it. That is what normalization of discrimination looks like. I think the point has been, taken. So either you can, both of you, share this chocolate, or I'll keep it back. What do you think?
Yes, we can share.
All right.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. So now in this, thank you. You can actually go back. I'm not calling you back. Please. Thank you. So can I have the next slide now? It is in this context that I want to define for you guys what feminism means. Feminism is now certain things. We'll just go. Giving equal opportunities to people irrespective of their gender. Yes? Can we all agree on that? Feminism is next. Equal space. We spoke of space. Like the boy could step, there were times when he could step forward, but the girl kept stepping back, back, back. Are people existing even in the same world? Do we exist in the same space? Honestly, as an outspoken woman who's been espousing this cause, sometimes I apologize, and I apologize a lot to people. A lot of women could be nodding. We apologize for existing. Sometimes we apologize for taking other person's space. Sometimes we apologize for breathing. I'm sorry, I'm breathing. Is it offensive to you? Is that okay? Both the people should be able to kind of self-expression should be equal, whether irrespective of your gender. Yes or no? Next. Equal pay, I think we've done. We've covered with those chocolates. Like equal work, equal pay. Next. Right to safety, again, irrespective of gender, but as women, four crimes happen every hour. So while we are talking, 4 women would have been raped or assaulted. And it's okay, like, we just saw the normalization of rape culture. It just doesn't occur to us. We're so used to all this happening that we don't even raise our voice. Why do we need feminism? Because this is not okay. We get offended about small things on Twitter, and we're like really angry, and we espouse those causes. But we never take a stand for child sexual abuse. One day we don't wake up and say, I'm so damn angry that, as I speak here, every 15 minutes, one child, irrespective of whether he's a male or she's a female, somebody is getting abused. In the society that we live in, women are at least given the sympathy if they talk about this experience. Thanks to Me Too movement, thanks to Nirbhaya, it was a very gruesome incident, but at least people started talking about it. But if a man dares to talk about his, which your poem was very, beautifully expressing, his experience of being abused, we question his masculinity. And people have told me in our workshops, people, grown-up people, vice presidents of companies, with 2 children, all they've broken up like kids and they've cried and they've told even my wife or my family does not know that I've gone through this experience and I cannot talk to anybody about it. Right. So when I talk about gender stereotyping, both the genders are given very specific static roles. Within this parameter, you can exist, but dare you step out of that parameter, you'll be punished for being you. That is what we are here to break. Next slide, please. What feminism is not, and that is equally important. It's not equivalent to male bashing. It isn't. Next. So, use of aggression. I think it's more of a, that if you don't understand a cause, you're more vocal about it. I think in Hindi, I have to say, samajh ke kare to darshan hai. If you understand it is philosophy, bina samjhe kare to pradarshan hai. If you do not understand, then it is just shoshebazi. Make sense? So if you guys want to add something to it, as I told you, my slides are not complete. I'll be very happy to take your feedback, add something more to it. Is there anything else you guys would want to add? What feminism is not? Girls, boys, anybody? Take 30 seconds, think. No? So we can move on to the next slide. Where we are. Next, please. Demand for privilege. I think I missed that one. Demand for privilege again is very important. When I was giving you this example of, women traveling in public transport, the 2 bogies that women get. Do you guys think it is privilege? It's demand for privilege. Yes, no? Anybody? What is it? So you want to say something? Right to safety. It's not that we get 2 special bogies. It is that we can't travel in those 8 bogies because of God knows what might happen. So, 33% reservation, by the way, which I'm not very much in favor of. But the reason those things are asked is not because women want privilege, but because so much was denied, so much space was constricted. That whole demand is just so that we can, be in equal space and exist, coexist, right? Next slide, please. So I think broadly we all agree this is what feminism is. In this context, we are going to look at certain things from the lens of cinema. The fun part begins now. Back. One. So again, this slide is incomplete. So for the sake of, I think we have almost equal representation of men and women, maybe a little bit more women. So as Women's Day here, let's call women team hum. And let's call men team tum. Okay? I want you guys to name 5 traits which you think are desirable in women. And sir, can you type it as they write? As they give us feedback. Mic circulate कर सकते हैं क्या? हाँ. So anybody wants to tell, like traits which are desirable in women? What do you guys think? There's no right or wrong answer, really. Okay, sweet, sophisticated. Let's take that. Anybody else? Even boys can tell. Like, हम as in women में क्या traits है जो desirable है according to you? Confident. Independent. Intelligent, you said, I think. But we're not getting those inputs here. Not getting it? Achha, for some reason it's not happening, but okay, we have set up a context. So sweet, sophisticated, intelligent, independent, strong, fantastic. Some of the traits that we think are desirable in men. Very nice. It's actually a reversal of roles, but yes, polite. Okay. Respectful. Some input should come from men as well. Caring. Thank you. Understanding. Thank you. responsible. Actually, fantastic. Thank you. Anything I missed? We can close this and move forward. Okay, we'll revisit your inputs a little later. Let me take you through some filmy posters, okay? And how men and women are represented in terms of space, in terms of if you look for adjectives, and if anybody wants to stop me at any slide and give a feedback, then please feel free to. Let's begin with the filmy slides. First, Dangal. What do you see here? A man in the center. The story was about. Thank you. I wish we could circulate mics so everybody could hear. Can you please? Could everybody hear her? I'll paraphrase. The story was about women, but there is a man at the center and he's occupying two-thirds of the space at least. Huh? Next, Talwar. What do you see? The existence of Konkana is incidental. It's again same story, pretty much. Next slide. What happened here? Who was the actress in this movie? Karina. Huh? I think वो item number के लिए होंगे. Right? This is how we treat our women. This is how much space we give to women who are traditionally who are accomplished and who are seen, heard, appreciated in everything we spoke about. Next, but this was a movie about a man, so it's okay. Pink was a movie about women, but look at the poster. And this spoke about serious issues, but how much space Bachchan Saab got? But these are newbies ना. चलो एक और पोस्टर देखते हैं. Newbies थे तो इसलिए उनको कम space मिला. Yeah, this cult classic. Please watch. Please watch. I want your reaction slowly. Even the supporting cast and the villain get bigger space. Then Hema Malini, not a newbie. I think she's a superstar in her own right. So is Jaya Bachchan. Look at the space. But do you think this happens only in cinema? Or do you think it happens in our offices when we have a panel and unless it's Women's Day and a woman is standing and talking about women's rights? What you did today was actually exceptional. Women are brought in to bring flowers. फूल देने के लिए लड़कियां हैं, आइटम सॉन्ग के लिए लड़कियां हैं. ऐसा सोचते हैं ना कहीं पे, and we normalize. We don't do it on purpose. I mean, we don't do कि ऐसे इनको किनारे कर दे, right? But it sometimes happens. Right, wrong? Anybody wants to add something about this poster? कोई आपके observations? Mike, you want to say something? No. Okay. Next slide. But all is not doom and gloom. Thankfully, we have movies like Queen, which celebrate a bindas badass. Next poster is actually quite powerful. What do you guys say? So it's not that everybody sticks to a certain opinion, but why I'm showing you all these posters is, and we spoke about the adjectives that we associate with women and the adjectives that we associate with men. There was a very interesting study that was conducted by students of IIT Delhi, DTU, and IBM. Now, what they did was they analyzed 4,000 movies. And they found something. 4,000 is like huge. But what they found is a reflection. We may be in denial and we may say, no, हमारे यहाँ नहीं होता. When you talk about these things and issues, one of the things that I get in denial is, नहीं मैम हमारे यहाँ नहीं होता. हमारे यहाँ नहीं होता तो फिर होता कहाँ है, right? So next slide, please. Before I go to that study, what's remarkable about this poster? This is quite a recent one. Well, now I need answers. I've shown you quite a few posters now. What do you guys notice? It's like he's a savior of, okay, he's the savior. What else? She's a tag along, okay. But why all the responses are coming from women? Men can also. She could help him, okay. The actor is doing all the work, okay. Of course, yes. And yet, fantastic. And yet she has to wear a really cute and tight dress because this is her job to sit pretty, even if her boyfriend is dying, even if he's fighting the villains. Girls, don't go and help them. Sit pretty and tight. Huh? Uh, about the guy. So abhi we discussed so many adjectives. Do we see those reflected? Cinema is a reflection of our society. So in the workshops, yes, we do talk about what is expected and what is desirable. But do we see that being manifested in real life? Matlab, we say this is real. In real life, things are not like that. Let's look at that. Next slide, please. So I spoke about this study, 4,000 films, and what they found out, the adjectives that were used to describe male and female. Men were described as rich, strong, wealthy, honest, famous, corrupt. Basically, it was about their traits, their behavior, or their levels of success. Women were, on the other hand, described as attractive, beautiful, lovely, married, poor, rich, widowed. Generally, what she did was not important. It was always in relation to some man that her status was described. I'll give you further example. Next slide. This is actually so this is from the same study, huh? And you guys can go online and look out for this study. Very interesting findings. This is an excerpt from Kahona Pyar Hai. Anybody wants to read it, or should I read it for you guys? Anybody wants to volunteer? चलिए मैं पढ़ती हूँ हाँ. Rohit is a singer who works as a salesman in a car showroom run by Malik. One day he meets Sonia Saxena, Amisha Patel, daughter of Mr. Saxena. That is her only intro. This is how we conceive. So Rohit is a somebody, Mr. Saxena is a somebody, but who is Sonia? Daughter of. In fact, now you will say IIT campus में ऐसा नहीं होता. मैं आपको बताती हूँ. When I was making that entry, visitors pass क्या बनवाना रहता है. So I was entering and the guy asked, it is daughter of or wife of. So I was going to ask him, do you ask men when they enter, is it son of or husband of? Food for thought. Has any man ever filled that form where they were asked husband of? If spouse completes us, and if spouse is, a complement to our existence, it works both ways or not? Yes, no? So if the father is not there, then we can talk about mother. Hana? But do we ever ask, agar father of nahi hai, to a woman has to be somebody's property. Somebody has to be a savior. And how much additional pressure it puts on men? Don't you think it works both ways? The privilege or lack of privilege, it's a two-way dagger. It's just that something which doesn't exist. If your sister, your mom was stepping out at 7, don't you feel stressed out and tense? Yes, no? I want more men to answer. Yes? So do you think this stereotyping or this restriction, it only harms the women folk? Doesn't it put additional pressure? Are you ATMs? Huh? ATM हो आप लोग? Both ways work करता है. It harms, it cripples both men and women, that gender stereotyping. Next. This is actually just reinforcing the point. This slide wasn't originally there in my presentation. Today is International Women's Day. Since morning, at least 10 people have sent me this forward. What's wrong with this forward? Read out, please. Give him a mic, please. I think you should speak loudly. Fantastic input. Yeah. Hmm. Thank you so much. That's fantastic. I think you deserve a chocolate, but either you have to come or somebody has to reach it to you. 3 cheers for him. 2 chocolate दे दूं? आप लोग आंसर तो वैसे भी नहीं दे रहे हो. I have to finish my chocolates. Anybody, you wanted to say something? Pretty much the same thing. Okay. He also wants to say something. Is it for the chocolate or you really want to say something? Please give him the mic. आप hand raise कर देंगे तो I think easy होगा. But what's wrong with it? We all want to be nice daughters. We all want, but it's not that we don't want to be all these things. We are flattered. I mean, come on. If any of you got this message, would you say, oh God, I'm not any of these things? I am, of course, all of these things. But
on the women's space, our man wants a woman to be.
Exactly.
That's not how anyone wants. I mean, like, I don't want to be a person that you want me to be. I mean, like, that's for everyone. So this definition is more of how a man wants a woman to be.
Does you think it's a bit unfair, maybe? Other people agree. Show the hands at least. मतलब hand raise करके दिखा सकते. What he's saying, right, wrong. I agree with you. Who all agree with him? Achha, those who don't agree with him, give me a reason why you don't agree with him. It's okay. As I told you in the beginning, there is no right answer or this particular answer is the right answer. It's your perception of things. And if you express your opinions, maybe we can, get a deeper understanding of why you don't agree. So a lot of people didn't raise their hands. I just wanted to know why. No? Okay. Touch you on these thoughts. As I said, I'm not here to give you, मतलब मैं आप पे कोई answer shove नहीं करने जा रही हूँ कि this is the right answer, but maybe ask yourselves like why. But thank you so much. How do I reach it to you? One person should volunteer to do this only. You'll get all the remaining chocolates, whoever does that. Next slide, please.
She's shown me long years, she's shown me skinny. How all our women are.
Thank you. That's a beautiful input, actually. Do we all identify with that lady? But if we don't fit it, that criteria, we don't get as many social rewards. Yes or no? Thank you for bringing out that point. Chocolate volunteer. हाँ, अब सब लोग को point add करना है. नहीं, बिल्कुल, please go ahead. I'm leaving you with some, like. Yes, please.
Same way, we never appreciate a man for a good son, good husband. To appreciate, but not as much as, अभी आपकी बोली Men's Day पे ये सब होता है.
नहीं, बिल्कुल बहुत अच्छा point है, valid point है. Very important point. I think 3 cheers for you for actually raising that point. ये तो बहुत अच्छी gender, that is, what you're espousing is gender neutrality. जो है सो है. Beautifully said. Give him 2 chocolates. Like he's earned it. Yes, please.
She's a good wife, she's a good mother, daughter, whatever. We expect a woman to excel at work, but we want her to be a good mother first, good daughter first, or someone who holds the family first. We expect these from women, but when we talk about a guy, we expect the guy to be successful in his career. Uh, we expect him to be a leader. We don't think of it that way. Okay, he should be a good husband too. He should be a good son too. He should care for the people around him, the women around him too. We don't impose this criteria on them. We just want them to be successful, to earn money, and do well.
Yes.
That's it. So I think that is what the point here.
Valid point. Thank you so much. Round of applause for her as well. So I think what he was saying and what she is saying is essentially the same thing, and some of my slides are. So any of you who are feeling that you're only talking about women, I'm just talking about one side of the story, Alka. We'll also talk about how it cripples the men. I promise before we leave. Okay, Avalokita, you want to? Would you wait for the mic? I'd rather everyone hears what you're saying. So you guys are warming up. I'm very happy. This is the accomplishment. There are no answers, but if you talk about it, I think we'll feel better about at least having opened up to each other. Yes, please. Exactly. Who earns more than me, probably. Let's address the elephant in the room. Absolutely, absolutely. And that is the point we've been trying to make. Yes, sir, I'll come to you. That's the point we've been trying to make since the beginning. And thank you so much for putting it in as many words. I'm going to put one slide next to this. Who is we? It's not a battle of genders. Look, it's not that men and women are against each other. We are all in the same team. But society, and which is why we took cinema, that lens was from cinema. Someone out there believes and has decided, maybe some plot writer somewhere or somebody somewhere decided that these are the roles. But times are changing, and who it's up to whom to rewrite these dialogues. It's up to us only, right? So yes, you wanted to say something. Fantastic. Just one sec. Chocolate volunteer is missing. Or maybe he's doing too many things. Keep more with you and you can just keep on passing. Yeah. One for sir. Somebody else. You wanted to make a point. Yes.
Can we can imagine like that we is sociable construct that we can name it as heteropatriarchy. We can name it like that. It is basically a construct. It's not
It's construct. Yeah.
basically a construct. That can be made and that can be dismantled, right? So that is what we are aiming for in the long run.
Absolutely. Very well said. Very well. Actually, the devil lies, and I say, I always say, I forgot to add that line. The devil dances in the details. Who is we? And why are we so petrified of the we? Because it is a nameless socio-cultural norm, like you said. So if it was a visible enemy, we could go and fight and we could say, no, I don't agree with you. But this thing is invisible and it is deep rooted in our psyches. And all we have to do, what we have to really do here, I'm probably going to give you a ready made answer, but this is my answer. Your takeaway could be different. Sometimes all you have to do is walk up to the devil, look it in the eye, laugh at it, and walk away. You don't have to engage. Yeah, it's that simple, really. Take some time to cut you on this thought. Somebody else you wanted to add something, okay?
Take some practical examples which I face in a
Hmm.
real life. So, what I observe in my family, if I take that, if my sister studied in a private college, so my father wanted an ideal husband for her. if I study in IIT, then he wants an IS husband for me. So that's what I saw, and then I saw that if my brother is of a darker shade, he said, okay, I will Prince 45 for her. Sorry, for him, so that the generation would be like the mixed race.
Fairer.
And if I am, then the guy should be taller, or if my brother is 6'3", then the girl should be approximately 5'10". So all of these things,
Both the sides.
it's so much prevalent in our everyday life that all of us think in that same way only. Though we do not agree at this point, but we do think in the same way only. Because I have observed this among our friend circle. In fact, sometimes within me, I have seen this particular trait. So I think that this is definitely in all of us. Though we ignore acknowledge, but it's high time we should acknowledge. Then only we can bring some change.
Absolutely. Boys, do you feel like, feel like giving her a round of applause? Thank you. You're speaking for every one of us when you're saying that. You wanted to say something. Yes. Absolutely. Female infanticide is in itself, like, if we talk about violence against women, that will be a whole different session. But thank you for bringing that to fore. So, yes, so we've been speaking about women, and there are some more slides which are remaining where how we stereotype and constrict men. So, let's move on to that also. But let me share the findings of that study just to sum up. Men are often described, like you guys rightly said, like you were saying, ma'am, that with the words which have more to do with their achievement. Is it essentially a good thing? Because then, वो जो मैंने आपसे पूछा था, are you guys on ATM? Do you guys want someone to marry you because you earn well, because you're wealthy? Or do you want someone to appreciate the good qualities? Or like rightly Sir said, would you marry someone if they were of short height or not that physically attractive, with not that big a pay package? It works both ways. It cripples both. Other thing, women I spoke already about. I think women are, written about as so. Yes, we want to be wonderful wives and mothers and everything. Those are aspects of us which we enjoy. However, we are also accomplished people in our own right. And that should also be, when you are describing a woman in a professional setup, don't say the word she's so amiable. You don't want someone who's amiable, you want someone who's skilled. Yeah? Um, Over the last 50 years, so in this survey, they found a male was mentioned 30 times in a plot as opposed to a woman. But then we have spoken enough about it. Moving on to the next slide. This is what I was talking about. So trust me, when I told you we're going to talk about both sides of the coin, who is going to guess this dialogue? No prizes, not even a chocolate for this. कोई बोल के बताए मुझे माइक पे अच्छे से एनीबडी ये दे दीजिए इनको माइक दे दीजिए say that with whole emotion and everything, huh? Anybody wants to improvise on that? Thank you, sir. That's fantastic. चॉकलेट बिल्कुल बिल्कुल दो बनते हैं एक्चुअली उनके और ले जाइए हाँ दोनों दे दीजिए और ले जाइए आप यहाँ से Really, boys, we were talking anyway. We started talking on that topic. Really? I mean, how do you guys feel about वो रोते हैं तो what is the it is लड़कियों के जैसे क्यों रो रहा है? It's almost derogatory to cry for a man. It's okay for a girl to cry, but have you guys ever felt like I wish I wasn't a boy so I could express my emotions? Have you ever felt like that? Okay, he's really wanting to speak. Okay. No, that's a big statement. If you said, yeah, of course, a lot of people will be finding it, they'll be struggling with the words and emotions to even accept. because it's a direct attack on their masculinity. कि लड़का होके रो रहा है, कैसे लड़के हो?
I have to be like the man of इसको ताकने like I should not make my mom be just a happy kid और थोड़ा since there it's very complicated situation is
How does it make you feel? Like, honestly, tune into your feelings and tell us, how does it make you feel?
snap out of things but एक बार लगता है कि all I'm doing is just burying deep under and very
बहुत important बात बोल रहे हैं ये. What happens? Round of applause. That much we can give him, right? What happens? It goes both ways. So I told about how girls feel constricted. Now you're talking about how men. It doesn't matter. Again, it's a gender neutral thing. What happens to emotions which are repressed? Where do they go? Where do you guys think the repressed emotions go? Therapy, bilkul. Repression leads to perversion of thought, one way or other. ये जो सोसाइटी में हम क्राइम और हम यू नो व्हाट इज द बिगेस्ट लाई टोल्ड टू ह्यूमन काइंड आई वुडंट से मैन काइंड दैट्स आल्सो जेंडर बायस सो व्हाट इज द बिगेस्ट लाई टोल्ड बाय ह्यूमन काइंड सबसे बड़ा झूठ जो हम लोग रोज हम सब बोलते हैं टेल मी दैट वाज माय नेक्स्ट स्लाइड कैन वी हैव द नेक्स्ट स्लाइड प्लीज होता है हाँ But the biggest lie that has been told by humankind, men and women, how are you? I'm fine. I am fine is the biggest lie that people go on telling over and over. You know, you want to say, I feel like crying. I feel sidelined. I feel terrible. I feel there's too much pressure on me to, you know, to match the expectations of my parents, but you can't say any of those things. How are you? I'm fine. Food for thought. And God forbid, if I asked you, Avlokita, how are you? And Avlokita told me, Mriganka, I'm feeling so terrible today. You know, things are just not going my way. Now I'll tell, nahi, nahi, sab theek ho jayega. We want to run away from those conversations. We don't, you know why? Because we were told, we were taught life skills for hypotenuse and algorithm and all those things. Huh? But emotional intelligence, what to do with these repressed emotions? Those repressed emotions are perversion. So what we can do about it? Any answers? What can we do about those repressed emotions? Yes, please. So she wants to add something and then I'll open the question. Yeah. But that's actually therapy. Talking so much is actually therapeutic. He'll be called crybaby. Huh? Absolutely. Psychosomatic pain is actually a whole, like you can Google it and look it up and read psychosomatic pain. So, what happens to emotions which we do not express? We repress them, they don't go anywhere, they stay in our bodies. And emotional intelligence is something that, you know, again, that workshop will take a lot of time. But I open this question to you guys. You tell me what to do about this. क्या आपकी common sense क्या कहती है? What to do about these? Anger. Possible, yes. Yes, that's a good explanation. Do you guys agree with you? Want to add something? Yes, please. Beautiful. End of the day, we should be able to express what we said in the beginning. We can take the mic to her. What we said in the beginning, all we want, irrespective of genders, is to be seen, heard, appreciated, and dealt with kindness, right? As per me, that is the only way forward. I think, and that is why I told you there is no solution. It's just dialogue. If we can create safe space like the workshop of this nature, but also beyond this workshop, take it outside with you guys. And when you sit for a sip of coffee or, canteen mein baith ke, talk about these things, express and don't judge each other for, in the end, I will add actually my bit. So she wanted to say something. Yes.
It doesn't work every time. What will you think? He go forward. He
Right.
person is also. I talk to my mother every time I'm traveling. She said it doesn't work both ways for everyone as well. The problems might not be the case for her. Maybe it doesn't work.
But that's a fantastic perspective too. Of course. Yes, please.
Solution is always to go for now. Is a third party who have open power. Have any
You can actually use the mic. So, no, they can't hear you. If you use the mic, everybody will be able to hear you. That's very brave of you, by the way.
I know there is that is something that society has living over not source stay pure.
I think that also comes from therapy. But first of all, before we move forward, I just want to take 1 second. This is very brave of you, sir, to speak because yes, we do attach so much stigma. Give him a round of applause. Very brave of you to speak about it. And also when you speak about it, you give other people the courage to open up about things that they're going through. So thank you for that. Chocolate. Yes. Fantastic. इतना ठंडी सी ताली. Like, give him louder. This is very important. I'll come to you with the mic. Somebody wanted to make a point and then let's come back to you. Who's not getting any chocolates? This row is not getting. That's very unfair. Chocolate volunteer. I think you don't like them? You can't bring, like, see, this workshop is about gender biases. You can't bring your personal biases, against people. Yes. Absolutely. Beautiful. Can you stand here, look toward them, and this is such an important thing. I want you guys to like really take note of what she's saying, and that answers your questions also. Instead of going for one go-to person, what she's talking about is building a support system. So important. Can you please repeat what you just told? But if you have a support system, probably you don't even need like therapy is basically you're looking for someone who would listen to you, right? Okay, go ahead. Not everyone is privileged. And not feeling stigmatized. It's not a big. I have an emotional intelligence coach. It's not that I'm going through something, but sometimes I feel mom is not giving me the best advice, and I need to ask someone. Ki, bhai, somebody told me you're very judgmental. I don't want to be a judgmental person. I'm being very honest to you guys. So I asked my emotional intelligence coach why, even though I didn't intend to be judgmental, why this person, this colleague of mine, felt that I was being judgmental. And she, without blaming me, which is, what happens, friends, as friends and family, sometimes we tend to blame, तुम्हें ऐसा नहीं करना चाहिए था. She was like, maybe that last point which I'm using here is actually something that she gave me. If you said that with kindness or compassion, it is more likely to be acceptable. And it was like perfectly reasonable for me. And I was like, okay, I was a changed person. I said, okay, I need to go and apologize to this person, trying to help this other person. I'm trying to own them up. So, yes, whose advice we are taking, that is also, very important. You wanted to add a point? Yeah, mic for her, please. There. And then we'll go to the next slide also. Next slide. Meanwhile. We're already talking relationships. So. Absolutely. Absolutely. A valid point. I think, somewhere we all carry some biases. So thank you so much for pointing that out. And we all said because moms tend to listen more, maybe, or, whatever. But Avlokita she did bring out the point that that's why we need different people. If, again, that's a bias. But if I wanted money advice or, if I were buying a property, I would not be asking my mom. I would probably go to my father. That's also a bias. But thank you for pointing that out. We'll move to next slides. We're almost at the end of the presentation. Next. This is the fun part. Who can guess this song? Sure. Yes, please. Go ahead.
Say that ऐसी चीजों में related communities like for example stigmatized with other women names, but actually the other person is also shares. So if you share very much possible that
Yes.
they can validate your if I share course she will get it more later. So that's why I think like many times I don't know why but this gender ratio is very skewed. So there are a lot of boys
I've
that
heard it's worse than the state of Haryana, though. Huh?
it's 10 boys to 1 girl.
Okay.
So female groups are limited. The reason that we are often judged for hanging out only with girls and not having a lot and similarly, like not only by boys but with girls as well. So this girl boys. And that's why I think we since we are so low in number, we afraid to form a community. Sharing a problem.
I think that is something which is actionable. Like, I mean, maybe you'd like to take up that cause and build something. Would that make sense? Because your problem is very practical. And yes, we do need maybe a mentor or a lady who's gone through similar experience, dealt with these things. So, would you like to add something to that? Yeah, not like right away, but later on. Yes. And that was the idea. If I don't want you guys to come here, say what a fantastic workshop, whatever is your takeaway, take it outside and benefit from it. So I hope that you are able to address this issue, but thank you for raising it. Okay, we're left with some 3-4 slides and I don't know 2-3 chocolates, but who wants to guess this song? गा के बताना पड़ेगा. गा के बताना पड़ेगा. Mike, कोई भी, somebody sing. Give her the mic. She wants to sing this song. Give 2 mics, sing together. Yeah. Okay. Mic पे. आ जाओ, सामने आ सकते हैं आप. If okay. Hidden talent, हाँ? जोरदार तालियां. क्या बात. हाँ भाई, please give him chocolate. No bias, हाँ? अच्छा, next. नहीं, before next, sorry. I was so mesmerized by your voice, I forgot the cause. क्या बोल रहे हैं ये? What message are we coding? मतलब consent? खिड़की के बाहर. No need for. To हाँ कर, ना कर. And then, we reinforce. It is not just in movies. How often we say, hasi to fasi. She was saying that we don't talk to boys. One of the reasons we don't talk is because if we laugh and talk, it is perceived as we are available. Like, has ke baat karna and available hona is the same thing. Correct me. Please tell me. I just want to be educated. Okay. Share कीजिए ना आप, please.
It happens many times, like you hang out with a bunch of people who are not like your close friends and hang with them because everyone was in a party mode. But the next day you get a lot of text messages. He
काफी फंसा कर आज आपसे मिलते हैं. Let's go somewhere, have dinner or something. That's not like it's like taking a personal space. तुम कहीं से नाम निकाल के नहीं सकते.
इसको हम वर्ड वन वर्ड में डिफाइन करें, बिकॉज व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन हीरो एंड अ हरासर? If I were to say that in one word, what you're talking about is when it becomes harassment for you, right? Can someone give me that one word for it? क्या चाहिए होता है? जोर से. Consent. Consent. तू हाँ कर या ना कर नहीं. हाँ means हाँ and ना means ना. On that note, I also want to say to the girls that Na should be assertive and strong. Sometimes, like she said, I find it so difficult to put forward because society has conditioned us so much. We are too afraid to even say a word like no. No is a complete sentence in itself. Like I said, I am fine is the biggest lie. Two most important words that we're going to learn in our lives to say are not even words. They're not even sentences. They are words, but they're complete sentences. Yes and no. Yes, I want it. I don't have to explain my choice to anyone. No, it's not okay with me. I don't have to explain my choices to anyone. Am I right? Do you guys agree? But it's very difficult to do it in real life. In real life, we are still all learning how to. One of the most important things I've learned in my life is when my boss delegates too much work on me, I stop being party, people pleaser. Yes, yes, yes. No, it's not possible. Not possible in 1 month's deadline. I have to balance my life. I can do it in 2 months. You'll be surprised how people actually admire and appreciate people who are able to take a stand for themselves. Most people do. Acha. Next. This is a little old song. I don't know if you'll be able to. Anybody? Ha. Please, please. Would you like to sing it for us? ये थोड़ा ना हमारे भी पहले पहले के जनरेशन का सॉन्ग है, बट इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट व्हाट दिस पर्सन इज सेइंग. लिरिक्स कुछ कुछ बताइए आप. आई विल हेल्प यू. तेरा बिछना मैं छोड़ूंगा सोनिए, भेज दे चाहे जेल में. What he's saying? He's saying I'm a stalker, and even the fear of law won't stop me from stalking you. Do women really want this? This romance is given to us on reel, and some of you may be thinking reel पे होता है, real में थोड़ा ना होता है. I'll share one more study with you guys. That's what is portrayed, that she's really enjoying, huh? I'll come to next slide. डम शराट खेला होगा आप लोगों ने. लास्ट के 2 स्लाइड डम शराट खेलते हैं, then we'll close this. Who will enact what I'm going to ask you to enact? एक volunteer. Come on stage to find your card. Acha, 2 people are there. I have 2. Come. Both of you all. So, first one you do. You don't have to read it aloud. You read it, and then you have to enact it, and people here have to explain what you're saying. The dialogue is from this movie. She's going to enact it, and you have to guess. You can read the second one meanwhile. I'll- क्या बात है, वाह. That was fast actually. अकेली लड़की खुली तिजोरी की तरह होती है. What do you guys say about it? Why? So she has to be protected if she goes out. लड़का खुली तिजोरी की तरह, उसको बेचारे को प्रोटेक्शन की कोई जरूरत नहीं है, फेंक दो. In movies they have actually said लड़का तो खुला सांड होता है. मतलब these are actual dialogues from movies. This is also stereotyping. That was good. Huh? Good acting. Next one. Next slide. फूल दे दूं अब. Chocolates खत्म हो गई. Take one flower. No, seriously, take one flower. Take the whole bouquet. No, go ahead. It's okay. हाँ जी. अच्छा. Next slide, please. So they know the movie. This movie. जो सबने देखी होगी। नहीं, पर पूरा बोल के बताओ व्हाट वाज। चॉकलेट भी नहीं बची, फ्लावर भी नहीं बचा। तालियां बजा दो। हाँ? थैंक यू। अच्छा, वाह, चलो, थैंक यू। क्या बोला था आपने? Anything inherently wrong with that dialogue, and it doesn't matter. Who wants to be? But this has been romanticized, you know. This has been romanticized. I'm going to share a study where 90% of the women who were surveyed, they thought it was very romantic. प्यार से कह रहा है, प्यार से मार सकते हैं. And let me tell you, like, this is extreme. But when it comes to emotional abuse in relationships, again, it is gender neutral. Women could be perpetrators and men could be perpetrators. The point is that we don't talk about and romantification of this kind of abuse. जब तक pain नहीं होगा तब तक प्यार नहीं होगा. What kind of crap are we served in the name of romance and love? Yeah. But people do subscribe to these notions. Any comments on that?
Like at this much when a certain point of view. आज जो मूवीज में देख रहे हैं वो रियल लाइफ में कहीं ना कहीं होते हैं because as I was saying a friend, the previous day I faced this thing that there was this guy who was talking to me. I was just laughing and talking to him. So he said, "Okay, fine. Do you drink?" So I said, "No, I don't. But I just tasted it." So he said, "I just assume that you drink. Come on, yeah, you look like a party girl, and I know that you drink. Come on, don't try, don't try, don't try." So I was trying, oh my god, he's so assertive. I was saying that just let me. तो और ऐसी चीज हमें अपनी लाइफ में दिखती है.
अच्छा, पीते होंगे तो अवेलेबल भी होंगे. By extrapolation, right?
It's not wrong, but how can you judge any person based on anyone's appearance or anyone's choice?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very well said. So, now, yes. Facebook, Twitter, something. Okay. Yeah. And we need to really undo this effect. And the way forward, like you said, is that we teach our children or among our peers, we talk about these things. And once people know it's not okay, it doesn't make me cool, make me desirable. I'll continue with this study to show you some things, right? When women were, so same group of women, this is a study by Oxfam, and same group of women, the way the question was framed totally changed their answers. This is very interesting. See, so पहला तो abusive relationship you all said is not okay, but 90% of the women said, मतलब ये statement को उन्होंने support किया, वही संवारेंगे, वही दुलारेंगे तो वही मारेंगे. Lots of women thought intimate partner violence में slap is not like one slap is not, it's normal. And if they were to go to their mothers or fathers, both either, right? They would actually say एक थप्पड़ ही तो था. There was a movie थप्पड़, but people will tell you एक stare ही तो था, एक गंदा statement ही तो था. Just यही तो था, वही तो था. Just normalize, and that is normalization of rape culture. Next slide. But when the question was rephrased, and this was something which gave me hope, that's why I kept it for the end. Same group of women, when the questions were rephrased and they were asked, who would they choose as their spouse if they had to choose someone from, cinema? These were the answers. They said Salman Khan and Sultan because, and the cause, the reason, we've been talking about all these things, because he repents and grieves for the loss of his child and loves his wife loyally. So actually, that time they said कि मतलब they appreciate emotion or empathy in a man, which is what you guys said कि उसको तो कोई value ही नहीं करता है. It's not all doom and gloom. Next one. हाँ. Other person, second person of interest was Ajay Devgan in Drishyam for his ability as a common man to defend his family. So no, family men are desired, respected, honored. It's just that they're not portrayed, or the more popular portrayal is of those Hero Panti wala poster I showed. That is more mainstream, maybe. Next. Yeah, this was another favorite of people. Akshay Kumar in Airlift is someone they'd like to marry because he was very patriotic. I thought that was a very beautiful sentiment that came from women. Next slide. We've spoken a bit about it, but I'll just quickly wrap it up by saying that how we normalize. When assault happens, or acid attack happens, or honor killing happens, then what we do? Mombatti leke? You've done? Anybody's done that? मोमबत्ती लेके जाते हैं. So sad, not okay. But अच्छा वो भी नहीं किया, कैंडल भी नहीं जलाया अभी. It's okay. But there was like our generation, we went for the Anna Andolan. Our generation was the Andolan generation. Sorry. Oh yes, I'm so sorry. Like generation gaps. So no candles, Instagram stories. Thank you. So what happens is जो अभी हमने बात करी, हम stalking को, ogling को, eve teasing को, when we baseline offensive behaviors को जब हम normalize करते हैं, तो वो green light से yellow. Domestic violence, maybe it's not okay with us, but we'll want a woman to put up with it if it is possible to save the marriage. Sexual harassment at workplace. If a woman, although we have a very stringent law, I could do one more workshop on sexual harassment. Like it will take that much time. But if the woman speaks about being harassed, then we label her as troublemaker. Nobody wants to hire a troublemaker. This is normalization of rape culture. But this person who first was talking someone who wouldn't take, like you said, who wouldn't take no for an answer, someone who will just find out number from somewhere and keeps talking the girl, then his confidence level really goes up. That person becomes violent because again society doesn't let him express either, so it is both ways. Then he becomes violent. One day when that person becomes this angry brother, किसी और से community की लड़की से शादी करी तो कैसे करी, this is a matter of honor, खुली तिजोरी की तरह होती है. That is when we start reacting too late, which brings me to what you had already said. Where lies the solution? The solution lies in talking, and talking to people when they're still young, which is when we can really influence their thought process. I will sum up. After that, if you guys want to do some Q&A, because we've already almost done 2 hours, I think there's a lot of brainstorming. I'll sum it up with the last slide. But if you guys want to add some bits, I'll be happy to stay back in here. What can we change later on? Next slide. Next slide. This quote, I don't know who gave it, but I loved it. What is the way forward? Everybody will have their own takeaway, but unless men and women start having honest conversations about who they truly are, what demons they battle, where they lack, and what they want truly, love will continue to be a temporary emotion. So I want to sign off by saying that stop being afraid to speak where you are. Thank you so much. Avloki? My mic is safe. Would you like to? Yeah. I think already बहुत thought process हमने बहुत सी बातें की हैं. फिर भी अगर आप लोग कुछ closing statements add करना चाहें. Sure. Well, she's coming. Yes. Over to you. Sure. Somebody want? Okay, she wants to speak.
Okay, so actually I love this workshop reason being because we were talking about stereotyping and gender bias from both the perspectives, men and women. Recently, because I'm doing research in social communication, this is something what I found. People talk about women. Okay. WHO has studied that every one woman out of three they actually face some kind of a violence. It could be sexual, it could be emotional, anything. And in a movie, also must watch guys, they have said that, as you said, every like in 1 minute out of 16 minutes, women are getting raped. Nobody is talking about the perpetrators from their perspective. I mean, where are these men or anyone coming from? They're from us, they're from our family. So why there's not a statistics on how many men have raped, how many men have sexually violated somebody, how many men have emotionally violated somebody? It goes both ways. In both ways. So yeah, I think this is something really I took from them.
Okay, so we have a vote.
Thanks. Really very sensitive topic you've touched. And it's not that people haven't done studies. It's not very easy to, like for a person, maybe on the condition of anonymity, somebody will say, yes, I have been emotionally, but it is so difficult for people to accept that they have. But if you look online, there are some studies conducted abroad where the convicts in jail, they were asked what led them to, and then there was a documentary called India's Daughter. You also, it was banned. It was such a sad thing that it was banned. It made my blood boil, but it was very insightful that there was no remorse in the perpetrator. It could come from many reasons. If we go into the psychology of the person, a lot of times abusers are people who were abused themselves, and it got internalized, which is not excuse for abusing. But I'm saying that it's very interesting that you're saying maybe a study should be, and if you are taking up like that, so that's your subject, maybe you guys should think about doing, like IIT did a study on movies. Maybe you guys do it as a project, that what goes in the mind of the perpetrator, and we would love to know the results, like what the answers as well. Anybody else wanted? No, not at all. Actually, so I wanted to put a slide, but then I removed it because you raised this point. Can somebody name the top 3 countries where the crime rate against women is almost zero? Name the countries, please.
Sweden.
Denmark, Sweden. Somebody said Bhutan. I'm really sorry to disappoint you. There is not a single country. You can go, UN Women made a post about it, what you're saying. There is not a single country where the crime rate against women is zero. This is a universal problem. So yes, because I was giving a presentation here, I took examples which were more local, but the problem is very much global. Your point noted. Yes, that is about respecting the mutual difference. That said, so I'll give you a few examples. Women, like stereotyping. But physically तो weak होती है ना, biologically ऐसा है. Then you look at Marie Kondo. Yeah. So not everyone is the same. Men खाना नहीं बनाना आता, मतलब विकास खाना. So people define norms all the time. But the point is not that you should be this way or that way. Point is that whatever you are, be. There's no judgment. Right? So I guess, okay.
ऐसा है कि आज के टाइम पर तो काफ़ी रूल्स और मतलब लीगल हो गया कि मतलब यू कैन नॉट हर्ट फिजिकल वायलेंस इज लाइक इट इज़ पनिशेबल बाय लॉ बट देन अब बहुत इससे भी ज़्यादा बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है कि इमोशनली there is emotional violence and that is much worse because it affects your brain and like mentally
There are no scars.
yeah there are no
There
scars
is no visible
Huh.
no visible scars. So even though
We're running out of time, so I'll keep it really short. Again, as I said, that would be a whole different emotional abuse in itself, a workshop, right? In 2005, India kind of, rehashed its domestic violence law, and in the purview of the law, physical violence, emotional violence, sexual violence, marital rape, on which we are still very, we're not been agreeing. Like in India, we haven't made it legal. Marital rape will kill the institution of marriage, is what was said. I'm not on this side or that. I'm just telling you what are the facts. But sexual violence. So these and financial violence. When your woman is not working, or maybe a man is not working, and the working partner tries to establish like superiority by depriving the other partner. So those four forms of violence were recognized. What actually happens in reality, and during pandemic, the cases of domestic violence really increased, physical violence as well. The problem is that people say fake cases है. Fake cases नहीं होते हैं. Emotional violence के scars नहीं होते हैं. How do you prove that I was emotionally violated? How do you prove that I was gaslighted? And also, I want to emphasize, men and women both are the perpetrators. It's not that women are the victims of emotional violence. Sometimes women are the perpetrators and very manipulative about these things. And like we said, men they can't even. So men have walked up to me, people who have been in 25 years of marriage, and they have said that, I can't walk out of this marriage because my whole public image depends on this marriage. But my wife beats me up, and my children side with my wife and they beat me up. So I don't know what the solution is. People have to be brave enough to talk about these things and provide empathy. Yeah.
All right. So I think the last sentence that she said is the solution lies in talking about these problems, and which is what we tried through Culsoc to start and initiate. Let us at least talk about them. And you can see this number. Had this been a dramatics performance or choreography performance by cultural society, I think we would have to close the doors, which is what we have done in the past. We actually had to close the doors, push out people, and deprive them of the entrance and this possibility. But the sheer number which is represented here very clearly shows that we are so afraid and shy of talking about these issues which actually need discussion. And this was something which I was actually expecting, and that is why we actually put it up live, so that even when people do not want to come out in the open and talk, they can still watch the discussion going on. And I'm really, really happy that a lot of you youngsters, whatever number we have, are here, and you can carry this dialogue outside this hall. Each one of you must talk about these issues. People who've not been able to come up here, the recordings are available. Go out and start talking about these issues. And they need a discussion, especially when more and more women are coming out, they're working, and they're becoming more self-reliant, dependent. And what we were talking about, would you be willing to have a male partner for your life who is not at the equal footing as you? So even these discussions become all the more pertinent. So with this, I would thank Mriganka and all of you for making this workshop a real success. Dialogue is what was necessary, and it has actually happened. So a big round of applause to all of us who've come here, and especially to Mriganka. And once again, thank you. And I'll request Shubham to come up and formally present a vote of thanks from Cultural Society.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening to all. My name is Shubham Agrawal, and it's an honor to be here and propose the vote of thanks for this evening. So first and foremost, I would like to thank our guest speaker, Mriganka ma'am, for being here and sharing her inspirational thoughts with us. And I'm also grateful for our faculty advisor, Professor Raghulukita ma'am, for being here and sharing her words of encouragement. I would also like to thank Institute Media Cell for being here and showing interest and covering this event as well. And everyone who is working off the stage. At the last but not the least, I would like to thank the audience for being here and showing interest. You have been a great audience, and we hope to see you again. Yeah. So thank you for being here, and we hope to see you again.